Call the meeting to order at 7:32. We'll start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Ryan,
Present.
Mr. Carre,
Present.
Mrs. McHugh, Mr. Cook,
Here.
Mrs. Florka, Mrs. O'Connor. Here.
Adoption or amendment of agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Support. We have a motion by Ms. McHugh, supported by Mr. Paré. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Consent agenda.
Under the consent agenda, you're approving the minutes from the special meeting on April 29, 2019, and the closed session on April 29, 2019 as presented.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Cook, supported by Mrs. Florka. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Any audience participation?
Does anybody have any they want to turn in?
Okay, correspondence. We have a breakfast at the Memphis Elementary.
Oh, volunteers.
Yep, for the volunteer. Okay. And then we have a letter from Anne Marie Altier. We're at the interview portion for board vacancy. Just remind the board that we had selected our questions at the last meeting. We're going to ask the same questions. And then we'll go through the recommended steps after that point. I think we'll be skipping a few steps since we only have 2 candidates. So we'll progress through that as needed. Mrs. Bobke, you all set?
I'm here. Yeah,
All right.
hi.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Just to point out the eligibility, I know we've been through this before, but you must be a qualified school elector. And that means that you're registered in the school district and that you're 18 years of age, citizen of the United States, resident of Michigan for 30 days. So we had gone through at the last meeting and we all picked a question from here, and we're going to ask the same question so we can gauge it against candidate. So I think, Marty, you have the first question on the list in order of numerical order.
I do. Good evening. Thanks for coming. Welcome back.
Thanks.
We've had 2 openings on the board this year, one in January and one right now. Why are you interested in this position?
I've been interested for a while with the last opening also. I feel like I could be a good advocate for the school, for the community. I feel like there's a lot of open communication with me. People feel comfortable talking to me and coming to me with concerns. I feel that with my career and everything like that, I hold a high professionalism. So I think it's easy to talk through matters and with emotions aside and everything.
Thank you.
Chris?
Sorry. How do you feel the school district can improve with the academic achievements of the students and the professional development of the staff?
Well, I think it's important to make sure that there's like a cohesive alignment with the state standards and what's being taught in the classrooms individually. I think it's important to look at where are we at on our scores and where do we need to work on for improvement and gain the necessary resources so that our scores are improving. I think it's important to work with achieving the 3rd grade reading. I think that's a huge one lately. So I really think to aggressively pushing academically.
Great. What would you like to see changed in the district, and how do you envision your role in that change?
I would like to see more transparency as not only just as a parent, but as a school board member, with administration of the school, and just all stakeholders involved. I think transparency would be a big one. I think in order to do that, I think there has to be a lot of open communication.
Thank you.
Okay, so as a board member, you'll be asked to make decisions where you must put aside what's best for you, your family, your friends, and your school to do what's best for the students and the district. What does that mean to you?
That's pretty easy. I do that every day with my job, working in the ER. I've had patients who are child molesters, murderers, and everything. I have to take my emotions out and provide the best care that they deserve, that every person deserves regardless of their situation. And so I think the important thing is to be able to remove the emotion out of situations and make clinical decisions and appropriate decisions for that situation.
Hi, Amanda. Working effectively with other school board members and the superintendent requires skills in communication and decision-making. How do you see yourself working with other members of the leadership team? And what is your vision for education in this community?
I think open communication, again, is a key for that, is improving the bonds between administration and school board and be able to have conversations. I think an open door policy
Okay.
is important for that also, both ways. So if there are questions or any concerns and stuff like that, be able to bounce back off of each other and then kind of the school to grow together by working together.
Okay. And then what is your vision for education in this community?
Vision for education is, I would love, obviously, I think academic success is an important thing. Also, I think that it's important that we're instilling strong values into our students. I don't think that we should ever put success over values. I kind of feel like they go hand in hand. I feel like that's important. I feel that it's important as a board that we're showing those values to the parents, to the students, administration, the staff, that it's kind of start from the top, being great role models of the values we believe in and working itself down.
Okay, thank you.
How do you view the relationship between the Board of Education and the administration staff? How do you, it's like, after I
The
chose
same
this-
question,
Yeah,
different
I know,
way.
it's kind of like, this question is really similar to the one that was just asked, and it's like, that wasn't thought through for me, but like, how do you view it right now? How, like when you're coming in, how do you view what are you seeing from where you are?
From where I'm seeing it,
Yeah.
it seems like from the past 6 months that I've been attending board meetings specifically, it seems like there is a lack of communication. It seems like there's a lot of stuff that's been caught off guard. Like I said, I'm new. I never worked I have worked in a school before in Texas shortly, but I'm not really a school employee, but I feel like from the outside looking in, you can see that there's almost like a little bit of disconnect there that I hope that I can help bridge some of that. I think it's important for the school. I think with the school will improve and the communication improves. I think that the school is like the heart of the community. And I feel like if the school's bringing in the community, I think it's important that high retention of the teachers, of students. I feel all of that, with open communication, we can achieve all of that.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
Well, I'm kind of wondering, what are you guys looking for? This is my second time interviewing for the board position. What are you guys kind of looking for as for someone to hold this position?
You can take that. You know, I think your background goes a lot into the selection. You know, what kind of background do you have? You know, involvement in the community is one big thing, you know, and how involved you are with the school. Obviously, you have that. And, you know, how well you'll work as a team, you know, because we're a team and we each have our individual views, but in the end, once we vote, you know, we have to, you know, it's the board's decision as a whole. So that's something I look at.
I think, just from my perspective, being kind of new, it's a lot more work than I was anticipating.
Sure.
So I think we need somebody who's dedicated to do the extra work, like the trainings that is available to us. The preparing for these meetings, you usually spend your weekends doing that, depending on the content. And then recognizing that you do have your voice, but the ultimate decision is to make this district the best district possible. And you may not satisfy people that you're very close to, and that won't matter.
Right.
So the objective decision-making is critical.
I feel like I have that pretty down pat with my job. I'm able to make objective decisions every day that I work, and I'm able to master at multitasking. So
Well, no, I'd like to thank you for the interest. I mean, we're all trying to make this school better, so we appreciate it. It's tough. Last time we had a lot of good candidates, and both candidates were good this time as well, so.
Yeah, I'll echo that. You know, thanks for coming in again and interviewing, and really appreciate your dedication, you know, to the community as well.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Dave, I'm going to read through my notes from last time. I'm going to do a few minutes just to do my own score.
Yeah, let's
I got a rubric for it.
let's take a few minutes to review our notes, and then we can have some discussion, and then we can make our recommendation and come to a decision.
Answer both now, or do we talk about each question and go through it?
Can we have some open discussion first, I guess, before we cast our votes?
Well, I'll start off. Both candidates, I'm happy that both candidates showed the interest. Amanda coming back twice. I like some of the push for the students. I like some of the taking the motions aside and making the clinical decisions, and really strong the pushing for the academics. I mean, some of the large strengths. On Carrie's side, the experience in the school as well, still a lot of student interaction, and often the development for the teachers where we find we're lacking. There were strengths out of both interviews as we had. I love the push for the academics overall. That would be my top.
Those I'm sitting next to you. So thank you to both candidates, both Carrie and Amanda. Carrie for last week and Amanda for this week. You know, from a strength perspective, I thought, you know, Carrie has had some great school involvement on the school improvement team, which is an important part of the school. I do have one reservation about putting someone on the board that's a member of the teachers union, is they may have to have some conflict of interest in discussions around collective bargaining with the same union group. So it's just a concern. There's certainly great experience being in a public school body, but there's a concern I have about that. For Amanda, I really like a couple of things, and I'll repeat a little bit of what Mr. Paré said, but the heavy answers around academic achievement. I really appreciate the working in the ER, emotions out, providing the best care, removing emotions, and clinical decisions. That's a great characteristic for this role, as well as values don't trump success, and really having academic success with great values at the same time.
I had a lot of the same comments. You know, I think it would be a unique situation as well to have a teacher on the school board. I think they'd bring the board some different insight. Some of the other comments that I had just written down from Carrie's interview was, you know, accountability, thinking of the students, looking at the data for strengths and weaknesses, rationally making a decision. You know, the DSA IT involvement, think is interesting as well. You know, not only with Memphis, but with the school district she teaches at. And then, you know, for Mrs. Bobsine, you know, advocating for the community, you know, the reading, as she referenced, the third grade reading, and focusing on academics as well. The open communication, obviously she's able to operate in some difficult situations, being in the ER. I don't know what could be more difficult than that. And then, you know, I think she's made some good observations on some of her comments.
When I was going through mine, I see a lot with, I'll go with Carrie first. She's active in the improvement teams, both here and at the school that she teaches at. But also she's passionate about public education because she is a teacher. And so she's just, she's always going to be making sure that that is really important, especially in what's best for the students. I have in my notes here. She's also wants to, you know, she likes to look at the data and everything, the strengths and weaknesses that we need to look at to do better, and even in maybe in our teacher training in that, and then also looking to have accountability and with Amanda. I see a lot of communication. She's real big on communication, which is wonderful, too. And then also we want to keep improving academically. That third grade reading, you know, we want to push. We did that because that's brand new that we've been pushing this year. And being transparent, open communication. She's said that many times, just that either the lack of communication, we need to keep that open communication, and also the value system, which is good, and even just to start at the top, which is really, we're at the top here. The board is the, and stuff. And really, and the last comment I have here, the school is the heart of the community. So I'm both good interviews, both great. Wish we had two positions. So.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I look for is the background and what diversity or skill set would bring to this board. Because I think that was one thing that motivated me to apply, because I think I don't work in public education, but a lot of the things that I do through work I think could apply to being a productive board member. And I think both of you have experiences that would allow you to transfer those skills to become an effective board member. So I won't rehash their comments because I pretty much agree with what everyone said on the strengths and weaknesses as we're taking notes here. But yeah, great interviews by both of you.
And I would just piggyback as well, and I think both of you would be a valuable asset. I heard communication, I heard transparency, that was consistent. And it just shows the diversity again. I felt like Carrie's definitely got some more business administrative, maybe the teacher side of things, and I feel like Amanda may have a little bit more pulse of the community and a little more interaction that way. So we could use both. I agree, if we had two positions, we could use both sets of skills. As much as you're similar, you bring a diverse set as well. So yeah, I'd be glad to have either one.
We go to a motion to vote.
Can't you vote? That's it.
So we give our vote and then a motion for the nomination.
Yeah, I think we each list our, we're at step number 5, so we each list our first choice, basically, in this case, since there's only 2 candidates. And you can either each individually list those, or I can take in the votes and announce them, but we all have to, it has to be publicly announced, the choices. So,
Well, I start off with comments, so I'll start off. I go for Amanda. I appreciate the fact that it's your second time coming as well. It's consistent. So both interviews were strong. I did a rubric like I always do to try to measure them off, and you guys are almost at that tie in a lot of ways, but some of the comments that I hit well, I'll go one for Amanda.
I guess we'll keep going in order like we did before. I would put Amanda at number one. Certainly, I failed to mention it earlier, but certainly interested in a while and gone through the interview process twice. And thank you for that. I know it's nerve-wracking. But both very good candidates.
yeah, this is very difficult. I'm going with Carrie just and my scoring system here. I just had, I had to go by that and try to take everything else out of it. I just think she brings some different, unique things to the board.
My choice is Amanda. I just feel right now that this would be what our board needs.
My choice would be Mrs. McClellan, and I think having an educator on this board is critical to what we need to do to move forward.
And my first choice would be Ms. Boxley.
We had two positions, this would have been very easy.
Yes.
Yes, we had two great candidates.
It's very difficult. So I will make a motion to appoint Mrs. Boxey as a board member through the certification of the November 2020 election results, according to Michigan law.
Support.
Any further discussion? So thank you both. It was at least on mine, it was very close. Two very good candidates.
Yes.
All right, so we have a motion by myself, supported by Mr. Paré. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do it for roll call.
We can do a roll call vote.
Those two aren't.
Got it noted down here, so,
Just, okay.
yeah.
Okay. Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Paré?
Yes.
Mrs. McHugh?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Borka?
Yes.
And Mrs. O'Connor?
Twice.
Okay, so that-
Discussion. All right, you ready for the oath then?
Just sign on top of this.
Mrs. Boxey? Congratulations.
You sign it.
If you want to just sign, you can sign right here to accept, and then do the rest after the meeting. Since we're here.
6, right?
Yes.
I haven't worked in a couple of days, so.
Okay.
Huh?
You brought it today.
Yeah. Long days, yeah.
Please raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of the Memphis Community School District, Memphis, Michigan, according to the best of your ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
See you over there.
So as part of one of our new policies, Mr. Goodman and I, excuse me, Mr. Goodman and I will sit down with you and kind of review our policies with you and answer any questions you may have about, our motions and things like that. So, Ms. Brown, I asked that you try and schedule something.
I'll send out a doodle with both of you, I'll send out some dates and see what works.
Okay. All right. This is to superintendent comments. Do you have anything?
No, I am actually going to the city council meeting tomorrow. I was approached by the assessor, Jamie Barra, and Donna Jansen's. Donna called me over the week. I talked to her on Friday, I guess it was. And then Jamie reached out to me today and they came over for the meeting. And it's in regards to the summer tax levy. He reached out to a connection he had at the MISD, and then we actually called Shroon together. They are going to make a motion at the city council meeting to move ahead with the summer tax collection. When I talked to Shroon, we walked through it with them and talked about everything else. He said that that should be absolutely fine if both parties are in agreement, even though the resolution was not made, it could be something that we do moving forward. Jamie wrote a resolution that they're going to share at the city council meeting. I'll be there to kind of talk on it also. And then I'm going to actually take that out to our other townships and see. So they reached out to me and I think it could be a really good thing. But like Jamie said, that the impact that it could have and the up and down of the taxes and the mortgages and everything. So we're going to try to make that happen where we can move forward. Obviously, we're already good for 2019 because we passed that resolution in April, but this might be our bridge to get into that next year. So it's very good news to have.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's great news.
Yeah.
Would we have to have the other townships blessing on it as well?
I would think
So
so.
each township will have to make their own decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of when we talked through it with Shroon, the reason you give it to the townships before January 1st, so you can have that conversation. Some townships will charge you for that mailing, that summer mailing. So it gives you time to go through it. So if you can come to an agreement and they're able to do it, so yes, each one could, but even if it's just Memphis, it's one that we kind of move forward, so it will help a little bit.
I would say, since this probably ends up on Channel 6, that I would encourage all the people that are upset about it to call their township and say, please let them do this.
Yeah.
It'd be a good thing for the community. Good job.
Yeah, it was great to hear from him, and he had some good connections to get us some good information on all that. So
Is there a deadline that you have to get that approval by the city and the township?
there's not, no. So it's just something we'll meet tomorrow, and Memphis is hoping to be the first one to take it, and then I'll contact all of them this week to see when their next meetings are, and if I can come out and present. They're willing to do it.
A week from tomorrow is Columbus. Second Tuesday. At 7:30.
7:30.
Riley's is tomorrow, so. 7 o'clock.
Do they do 7?
Small
So
town.
we'll see. I might be able to try to just run out there, at least have a conversation with them. They might not get it on the agenda for tomorrow, but do they meet? I will.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right, we're at board roundtable.
I said one quick thing. I just wanted to make sure, I know we talked about it, but I want to make sure that, I don't know their official title, but the little robot, the junior robotics team, I think it's called.
Decoders.
Yeah, the Decoders, they're invited to our 20th meeting, right?
Yes, and they're actually setting up a banner raising. So they've reached out to the coaches and get the newspapers out with Channel 6 to do a banner. They're trying to figure out where the best place is, the gym or the cafeteria. So we're making a big event, so it'll be pretty cool. I know I shared some of those details, I didn't realize the enormity of that, but yeah, first out of 11,500 teams is pretty impressive.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if anybody noticed it, but on the way into town today, I saw the state champion bass fishing thing, which is
Yes.
pretty cool. You go to every other town, there's something on there, so we have
Yeah.
something on there now. So whoever did that, thank you. Hopefully there'll be more underneath it.
Can't have a roundtable without Josh being mentioned, so the band got all ones.
Oh, awesome.
They did
That was quite the
Seeing
show.
when you get
Awesome.
4 or 5 years in a row.
And the prayer too, right?
And board meeting.
Great. Anything needed for closed session? All right. Adjournment, then I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:11 p.m.
Support.
Your worship.